Welcome back and Merry Christmas, you beautiful sons of bitches. Uh, we got us another week of lots full podcasts coming up. I'm joined today by my co-host Arkansas Dave Rudabah, and I'm your hostess with the mostest, Dakota. So Dave came up with this topic for this episode, and I think it's a pretty good one. I think with it being Christmas time, this was a good thing to do. Dave, what is this that we're getting into today?
So what the idea is like, okay, we have good old Saint Nick, as you see here in my background over here, and then we have good old Krampus, the
Good old
Anti-Claus.
Krampus, huh? Good old
Good old
Krampus.
Krampus, the Anti-Claus. And we're going to kind of touch in the history of both of them, um, and just kind of see how they kind of even up to each other and kind of where they started and how they've kind of become a they're pretty much the holidays now
Mm-hmm.
and everything. And what you're going to find out about this feller, um, he's not as old as the holiday. And he kind of went away for a while, pushed out of the scene, and good old Saint Nick here took over.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, and Krampus is more of a German, Germanic legend, and Santa Claus is more globally
yeah.
recognized. I think, in my opinion. That being said, fun fact: when I was a kid, we didn't celebrate Krampusnacht. Um, I'm, as most people that know me are aware, I'm mostly of German descent. Um, there's a town here in South Texas, New Braunfels, and my ancestors on my mom's side were the ones that founded the New Braunfels Shirts and Cibolo area.
Oh,
So, um, we didn't really celebrate Krampusnacht, but we did celebrate something called Saint Nick's Day, Saint Nicholas Day, okay, which is the morning after Krampusnacht. And the way it's celebrated, I don't know if you're going to get into it or not, was you would have a wooden shoe that you would put outside, and if you were good, then on the morning of Krampusnacht, or the morning after Krampusnacht, Saint Nicholas would come through and put little goodies in your shoe. If you were bad, Krampus would come and take you away.
yeah.
So,
So, now the two holidays you're talking about.
yeah.
So you have Krampusnacht, which is the 5th of December,
Mm-hmm.
all right, which is way different than Christmas and
Mm-hmm.
everything. And then you have St. Nick's Day, which is the 6th.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, we celebrated Saint Nick's Day, but we didn't do the shoe. What we did was, the morning of Saint Nick's Day, we would just open our stockings.
all right, I got this chair. It's bothering me. No,
That, that
I didn't have enough bend in it. I'm right on the wall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was starting to
Yeah,
hurt
that
enough.
was just when we did our stockings. We didn't do the shoe thing.
Yeah.
But I, I don't know many people around this area that celebrate Saint Nick's Day. Um, I remember growing up thinking it was just a normal thing. Everybody celebrated it like Christmas, and no, no, not many people around here do.
No. I mean, so like you said, it's going to be more your European
Mm-hmm.
countries. Now, I had a list of them. I'll have to go back and find it. Because I was using a website called Ghost City Tours that did a pretty good job at kind of summing up the history of Krampus and stuff.
Mhm.
So, let's see here. Let's see if I can figure out the countries.
Well, I went ahead and I compiled a history of the Santa Claus legend. I know you did a history of the Krampus legend, so we'll let you go first.
Well, first I gotta I gotta find uh the, oh, here we go. So you got Austria, Germany, Hungary, the Czech Republic, kind of in that region
The
where this,
Germanic region.
yeah, the Germanic region of Europe. So where this is mostly found. Now, Krampus started in the high alpine regions and everything of Europe and everything. Now, he's kind of changed over the years with the introduction of Saint Nick and everything, where he kind of went from this spook ghoul type deity to this demonic entity. Um, if you go online now, you're going to find where Krampus has either got 2 to 4 horns. Kind of depends on where you're at. He's got a forked tongue, cloven hooves, and everything. And like you were saying with Krampus, he comes in. He's kind of like the Punisher of Santa Claus's naughty list, is what he is.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes in the middle of the night. If you're on the list, depending on your severity of being naughty, he's going to beat you with a switch
Mm-hmm.
or a bundle of switches, depending on where you're at. Now, don't get me twisted. This we're not going to get into this too far and get sidetracked, but beat you with a bundle of switches. Normally, it's going to be a birch switch,
I
or
know a few women that would try to be on the naughty list.
yeah, and I can guarantee I can name one of them that you're
Yeah.
talking about. But so now that's when we reserve kind of for like, oh, okay, you've been kind of bad this year. You're gonna get a switching, kind of like your parents used to do when you're being bad as a kid. Now, if you're really bad, now the tale kind of differs a little bit, but Krampus would throw you into either his basket or sack, um, and he would haul you away, and then he would torture you,
Mm-hmm.
and then you become his dinner. So,
I think a lot more people should believe in Krampus nowadays.
right,
Like,
maybe we should have some better kids running around.
yeah.
Now, what is neat and that I found with Krampus is we have festivals went away for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Um, especially what I found was like in Nazi Germany. Um, they were pushing Krampus out,
Mm-hmm.
and the surges of Krampus went down. And you might still find it celebrated, like you said, in the high alpine regions where it kind of started. And it wasn't until late 90s, early 2000s where Krampus started making a resurgence. And he's gotten to be where now he's not just in the Germanic parts of Europe, he's everywhere. Like, you go up to somebody now, like, hey, you know who Krampus is? And they're probably going to tell you, yeah, he's He's the Anti-Claus that's going to come get you for bad.
Yeah, they just had a Krampusnacht parade in San Antonio.
Yeah. And if you saw that, a lot of those masks, and they're really neat, intricate masks. Traditionally, they're made of wood.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the horns, which, like I said, either one set or two set. The real traditional ones are probably going to be about two. And they're going to use goat horns
Mm-hmm.
from two different sets of goats, so they don't look identical. And then they're going to use goat fur, some type of fur lining, and everything. And when they have these parades, I mean, they'll chase you around, but that's part of the fun with it. Um, I do, if I remember correctly, I read somewhere over in Europe where Krampus is really big. They have like a Krampus march
Mm-hmm.
where they have like a or a Krampus watch. I don't know. I'd have to go back and try to find it. But where you'll have a group of people that'll dress up like Krampus and terrorize streets
Mm-hmm.
at night during the holidays. But it makes the good little boys and girls mind, so they'll get their presents.
Nothing like fear to keep people in line, ain't that right, government?
Right. Oh, I gotta love it. So,
Just saying.
um, let me look on here real quick.
This may get us banned in a certain part of the world, but not really pandering to that part of the world anyway. But isn't that what the CCP does?
CCP.
The Chinese Communist Party.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you ever hear Brandon Herrera talking about when he encountered those two people from China at SHOT Show?
No.
Okay, so funny side story. There were these two people from China, and they came up to him at SHOT Show, and they were filming and everything, and uh, the one guy asked him, "Hey, can we get a picture? We're real big fans of you." And he goes, "Oh, I didn't think y'all'd be able to own guns in China." And they just kind of, "Oh yeah, okay." So him being a nice guy stands up and he takes a picture of them, and takes a picture with one of them. The other one is taking the picture, and he stands up, puts his arm around the guy, and goes, 1, 2, 3, fuck communism. And he does that, and the guy from behind the camera just goes like straight faced and takes the picture, and then immediately takes the SD card out of the camera.
Interesting.
Uh-huh. Like you know, if that clip ever popped up on Chinese YouTube or something, those two motherfuckers would be disappeared real quick.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So, kind of what I was talking about a minute ago. Um, it's called a Krampus run
yeah,
and everything, or Krampus. I'm gonna butcher this. Lef. Yeah, I don't get me.
spell it.
It's Krampus with Lauf at the end.
LA what?
Lauf.
Lauf.
Krampus Lauf.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like I said, in the Germanic areas of Europe, um, I'm just kind of making sure that I didn't leave anything out. So, and that's what that little parade and costume thing is going to be called, Krampus Loft, Krampus Run, things like that. Basically, what we had down, y'all had down in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Except the one in San Antonio was just like a parade. It wasn't really interacting with the average pedestrian, but they just dressed up and marched down the streets, and that was about it.
now here's an interesting thing that they do over in Europe with Krampus. So they have a Krampus carton,
Mm-hmm.
which is the exchange of Krampus cards during the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
And it normally has Krampus on the card. Um, Normally, like with small children, beating them with switches and stuff like that, or abducting the kids. Um, it normally contains humorous rhymes or poetry, not to mention the occasional uh, bawdy or buxom lass, which I'm assuming is kind of like sexual or adult themed Krampus cards.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Something I can get into.
yeah, yeah, we know you into that freaky shit, Dakota. But yeah, I mean, Krampus kind of a he's an anti-claus punisher of the naughty list. I mean, kind of a cool little character.
Mm-hmm.
So, so what you got on good old Saint Nick or Saint
Well,
Nicholas?
Krampus and Santa Claus, I think, are two sides of the same coin. Um,
Okay,
I think that, on one hand you got the reward, and on the other hand you got the consequences of your actions.
right.
And that's a lesson to take into everyday life. Like, everything you do has a reward or has a consequence. That's
Mm,
something that I honestly think that's the point of both legends, is to teach these kids that everything they do has a consequence. Now, that consequence could be something good, it could be something bad, but you need to think about that before you act.
yeah, and the thing is, like, kids these days, they don't think that way anymore,
No.
or their parents don't teach them that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have kids that are constantly staying in trouble, and you see stuff over the news, or you got, hey, a 16-year-old shot another kid, or an 18-year-old man, because the kid's out gangbanging.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad.
And a lot of that has to do with the destruction of the nuclear family,
Yeah,
and uh, the government trying to step in and replace the father in the household.
yeah.
So,
You
I
can't
mean,
do that.
you look back before you had all these welfare programs and stuff, you didn't have these issues.
No,
So
no, you
it's
didn't.
all just a bunch of fatherless behavior.
Yeah. I mean, not to dig on, say, the black community, but
No, but
nowadays,
that's a community that it's running rampant in, you
yeah.
know?
Um,
And that's not a fault of the black community. That's a fault of the government for
yeah.
incentivizing that kind of family structure or lack
Right,
thereof.
right. I mean, you go back into 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, maybe not in the 80s. Um, but the black families were tight knit. They stayed together. Like,
Hmm.
Dad didn't leave. Dad
Hmm.
provided for the family and
Dad
everything.
never had to go get milk.
Yeah. Like, but now you look at it and it's not near as prominent anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
And it,
And every race has it to an extent, but yes, it is more
yeah,
rampant in the black community in the inner cities.
right. And I agree
Um,
with that.
and that's an issue that needs to be addressed. I mean, it's sad and it's doing nothing but destroying these communities. You know.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. I mean, I think if it could go back to the way it used to be, I think those communities would be better off and they wouldn't have such a bad rap.
But at the end of the day, it's all to build a voting base.
True.
I mean, that's the whole reason you do it. It's to build a voting base and have people completely relying on the government. Because if they're relying on the government, they're less likely to step out of line.
Yeah.
I mean, if you needed somebody's help, would you be inclined to try to stop that person from doing what they're trying to do?
No.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
So, but let's get into old Saint Nick and back on the
all
course
right.
here.
So I got a little bit of stuff on Saint Nick. Jolly old Saint Nick. Not a whole lot, but I think it's a good breakdown of the way the legend has evolved throughout history. It
Okay.
started before the 4th century with pagan winter legends. Okay, long before Santa Claus emerged, ancient winter traditions featured old bearded gift givers. In Norse mythology, for example, the god Odin was said to lead a ghostly hunting party during Yule, riding the night sky on his magical 8-legged horse Sleipnir. Children would leave out food for Sleipnir, and Odin would reward them with gifts, an early motif of a supernatural gift bringer that later blended into Christmas lore. Folklorists note that Santa's characteristics, with a long white beard, flying steed or reindeer team, and role as a Yule father, bear a strong resemblance to Odin's attributes. And then around 270 to 343 AD, Saint Nicholas of Myra. Okay,
Hmm.
this is a real historical figure. The historical Saint Nicholas, a 4th century Greek Christian bishop of Myra, which is present day Turkey, um, is the foundational figure behind Santa Claus. Renowned for his piety and secret gift giving, Saint Nicholas famously gave dowries to 3 poor sisters, saving them from destitution, and became venerated as a protector of children. He died on December 6th, and by the Middle Ages, this St. Nicholas feast day was celebrated with gift giving in his honor. So that's where you get St. Nick's Day.
Okay.
It's the day that St. Nicholas of Myra died. Okay. Then in the year 1087, long after St. Nicholas's death, his cult spread through Europe. In 1087, Italian sailors stole St. Nicholas's relics from his tomb in Myra and brought them to Bari, Italy. A great basilica was built to house the relics, and Nicholas's popularity surged across Europe. Pilgrims honored the saint, and the tradition of December 6th gift exchanges in Nicholas's name took hold firmly in many regions throughout the medieval period. So then we're getting into the Middle Ages. By the late medieval era, St. Nicholas was one of Europe's most beloved saints, associated especially with children and gift giving. On St. Nicholas's Eve, December 5th, children would set out shoes or stockings to be filled with treats. That's what I was talking about earlier.
Right.
Even after the Protestant Reformation in the 16th century, when many Protestants suppressed saints' feasts, the Netherlands kept alive the Sinterklaas tradition on December 6th. Does that word sound familiar, Sinterklaas?
Hmm.
Almost sounds like Santa Claus, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, elsewhere, Martin Luther promoted giving gifts at Christmas instead, encouraging the Christ kind or the Christ child as bearer of gifts. But St. Nicholas remained popular among Dutch and Catholic families despite these changes. The 1500s brought both religious change and new folklore. In Northern Europe, reformers de-emphasized saints like Nicholas. Martin Luther, like I said, shifted the gift giving to Christmas Day. Meanwhile, in England, a secular figure called Father Christmas took shape. First mentioned in Tudor times under Henry VIII, Father Christmas was depicted as a large, jolly man in fur-lined green or red robes. He personified the festive spirit, feasting, joy, and goodwill, rather than bringing toys to children. For a time, he wasn't associated with gifts or children at all, but this English spirit of Christmas would later merge with the St. Nicholas tradition.
I'm listening.
We're getting into this. Do what?
So I'm listening still.
No, you're good. During the 1600s, Dutch colonists in the Americas brought their Santa Claus traditions with them. In the Dutch colony of New Amsterdam, later named New York, the figure Sint Nicolaas, called Sinterklaas in Dutch, was familiar. English-speaking settlers soon adopted and altered his name to Santa Claus. Early colonial era descriptions varied widely. One account described Santa Claus not as a bishop, but as a burly Dutch sailor smoking a pipe and wearing a green coat.
Okay.
We can't have a bishop. Let's get a fucking sailor up in this bitch. If that's not the most Dutch thing I've ever heard, I don't know what is.
You're gonna put him in a striped shirt and blue jeans.
Yeah. What's next? He's gonna be a fucking lumberjack. These New World retellings stripped St. Nicholas of overt religious garb and helped transform him into a more folkloric secular character. Notably, even after the English took over New Amsterdam in 1664, the Dutch Sinterklaas traditions persisted among locals, sowing the seeds of the Santa myth in America. And then 1773, all right? The name Santa Claus made one of its first appearances in the American press in the late 18th century. A New York newspaper from 1773 mentioned a local Dutch family's celebration of a Saint A. Claus, marking the debut of this angelicized name in print. By now, the image of this Santa Claus was evolving beyond the old saint. No longer a robed bishop, he was imagined in a more whimsical, often rustic costume. This era set the stage for writers and artists to fully reinvent St. Nicholas for a new secular Christmas tradition. In 1809, American writer Washington Irving gave Santa Claus an early boost in popular literature. In his satirical History of New York, Irving portrayed St. Nicholas as a jolly Dutchman who flies in a wagon, dropping gifts down chimneys. He wrote of stockings well stuffed on St. Nicholas's Eve and called Nicholas the jolly old elf, replacing the stern medieval bishop with a genial folk character. Irving's lighthearted depiction, a pipe-smoking, gift-giving Dutch saint, was pivotal in remaking St. Nicholas into a fun-loving figure for New York's holiday celebrations. The New York Historical Society, led by patriot John Pintard, championed St. Nicholas as the city's patron saint. On December 6, 1810, the society held its first St. Nicholas anniversary dinner, and Pintard commissioned an illustrator, Alexander Anderson, to create an image of the saint. Anderson's print, titled Santa Claus, still showed Nicholas in bishop's robes, but tellingly depicted him filling stockings by the fireplace with gifts. emphasizing reward for good children. While Pinter's push to establish a widespread St. Nicholas Day in New York didn't quite catch on, the image of Santa Claus delivering toys resonated and spread. This helped shift the legend from a religious saint into a child-focused gift giver in the American imagination. Okay. Not all early American traditions came from the Dutch. In Pennsylvania German communities of the 1820s, a fur-clad, somewhat cranky gift bringer called Belsnickel was known to visit homes. Children might find candles if they'd been good, or get a swat from Belsnickel snitch if not.
So
Germans
Belsnickel
also
snitch is what their version.
switch. Sorry, not
Your switch is their version of
yeah.
Krampus.
Basically, yes.
Okay, so this is Krampus taking on a different form in a different area outside of its original
It's
range.
basically Santa Claus doing both.
Okay.
Germans also spoke of Kris Kringle, a name derived from Christkindl, the Christ child, but in practice referring to a Santa-like figure in some areas. These old world traditions of a rustic gift giver, sometimes rewarding, sometimes punishing, blended into the melting pot of American Christmas customs. In fact, Kris Kringle became another nickname for Santa Claus in the U.S., showing how diverse cultural threads were woven into the Santa story. An anonymous illustrated poem titled Old Santa Claus with Much Delight was published in New York in 1821, marking the first appearance of Santa Claus in a sleigh pulled by reindeer. This children's poem depicted a figure called Santa Claus rewarding well-behaved children and riding over rooftops in a reindeer-drawn sleigh, 2 years before the more famous account by Clement Moore. The 1821 poem firmly established the idea of Santa as a magical nighttime visitor, distributing gifts, and it may have inspired later writers with its imagery of flying reindeer and stockings hung by the chimney. And then 1823, the poem A Visit from St. Nicholas, better known as The Night Before Christmas, was published in 1823 and became the definitive portrait of Santa Claus in American culture. Attributed to Clement Clark Moore, this enormously popular verse introduced Santa's 8 tiny reindeer, each lovingly named, and described Santa as a jolly old elf with a round belly shaking like a bowl full of jelly. It was Moore's poem that standardized the notion that Santa arrives on Christmas Eve, coming down the chimney to fill stockings, and then springs to his sleigh with a whistle to his team. This whimsical, family-friendly image spread across the U.S., essentially laying the groundwork for the modern Santa legend.
Do you remember that poem
Santa Claus?
off the top of your head?
Oh, yeah. Not all the way. No. Not all the way through. I do not.
I'm sitting there just reciting it in my head.
Santa Claus began making in-person appearances in the 1840s. In 1841, a Philadelphia shop attracted crowds by featuring a life-size Santa Claus model as an in-store Christmas display. Thousands of children came to glimpse the figure, foreshadowing the era of department store Santas. This is one of the earliest recorded instances of Santa used as a live commercial attraction, a precursor to Santa's ubiquitous presence in malls and stores during the holiday season. The success of the display showed businesses that Santa's image could draw in customers, especially children, cementing a long-lasting link between Santa Claus and retail marketing.
And you want to know something sad about that? Well, that was really big when we were kids. You remember going to the mall as a kid and sitting on Santa's lap?
Oh, yeah.
And telling Santa, hey, I want this for Christmas, and getting your picture taken.
Mm-hmm.
And now you don't really see that much anymore.
And seeing your mom and dad over in the corner taking notes as you're talking to Santa.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, he wants a PS2. Okay, he wants a remote control car. He wants a horse. That's not going to happen. Go kart. Nope, that's not going to happen.
Scratch that, scratch that, scratch that.
Yeah.
uh, Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, 1843, is famous for Scrooge and spirits, but it also reinforced the image of a genial Christmas figure akin to Santa. Dickens personified the holiday's generosity in The Ghost of Christmas Present, portrayed as a jolly giant in a green fur-lined robe, essentially the Old English Father Christmas come to life. John Leech's illustrations for the book depicted this spirit with holly in his hair and a torch, blessing families with Christmas joy. A Christmas Carol was hugely popular and helped revive Christmas traditions in Victorian England. While it didn't mention Santa Claus directly, the genial, generous spirit of Christmas it embodied blended with the Santa Father Christmas archetype, reinforcing the notion of a benevolent holiday figure who spreads goodwill and, by extension, gifts and feasting. By the 1860s, Santa Claus's image was further refined, largely thanks to Thomas Nast, a German-American political cartoonist. In the midst of the Civil War, Nast drew a landmark illustration titled Santa Claus in Camp for Harper's Weekly, showing Santa visiting Union soldiers. In Nast's drawing, Santa is clad in a star-spangled jacket and fur trim, distributing gifts to troops, a morale-boosting wartime image. Nast's subsequent Harper's Weekly cartoons over the next decades gave Santa many lasting attributes: a rotund, cheerful physique, a full white beard, a fur-trimmed red suit. Nast gradually shifted Santa's coat from tan to bright red in later drawings, and a sack of toys. Nast is also credited with placing Santa at the North Pole. In an 1869 illustration, he mentions Santa Clausville, NP, or North Pole, as Santa's home base, solidifying the idea that Santa's workshop lies in a distant, snow-covered realm. For 30 years, Nast's popular images in the press shaped the American Santa into the form we recognize today. And this is along the lines of what I was getting into. Go ahead.
I was about to say, see, now, that's the thing of like what you're reading with Santa Claus stuff. Like, there's so much about the man. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
unreal. And how he's changed
Mm-hmm.
over the millennia. And then you got Krampus
And
here.
that's what I was saying. The next section is titled 1875. Santa arrives in Japan.
Yeah, I mean, uh, the
Like,
big jolly man here doesn't, he doesn't just go from staying in one place, but he evolves and jumps here and jumps there and everywhere. Where
mm-hmm.
you got, like I said, Krampus. Um, yeah, there's some lore about him, and there's stories.
Yeah, but he's more centralized to Germanic
Yeah,
cultures and Germanic peoples.
yeah. There ain't a whole lot of like, okay, this is Krampus, blah blah blah. I mean, you can read a couple pages and you got a pretty good rundown of what the guy's about. But you read him, and it's like, okay, this is going to take a minute because this dude's
Yeah,
evolved.
yeah,
Like this man,
yeah.
he's
We're
like a
still
Pokemon.
in the 1800s.
Yeah, this man, is a Christmas Pokemon, is what he is. Okay, tell me I'm not
I've
wrong.
never heard. I've never heard Santa Claus described as a Christmas Pokemon before. Oh
You're
my god!
laughing, but think about it. Like the man is
No,
the
I'm not saying you're wrong. But I'm not saying you're wrong at all. But it's it's one of those. Oh my god. A Santa Claus Pokemon, and now we're getting into Santa arrives in Japan.
You're welcome.
What's next? You're gonna see a commercial of Santa Claus standing there, ooh woo.
Gotta catch them all.
Oh my god. So the Santa legend began reaching Asia by the late 19th century. In Japan, where Christmas had
Santa, I
first been
choose
introduced
you.
by missionaries in the 1500s,
I'm sorry, how did they try to
but
catch
later
you off
banned for
guard?
centuries, Santa Claus made his debut around 1875 as the country reopened and Western customs gained influence. Japanese children came to know Santa Kurosu, a phonetic adoption of Santa Claus, and a uniquely Japanese companion figure emerged, and I'm going to try my best. All right.
Okay.
Hotai Osho, a Buddhist deity of good fortune who, in some stories, delivers gifts to kids, essentially a Buddhist Santa.
Okay.
Across Asia, as Western influence grew, so did Santa's presence, often adapted to local culture. In China, for instance, Santa is called Xingdan Laoren, which translates to Christmas Old Man, who carries a sack of toys. He became known especially in the 20th century as Christmas celebrations spread. These regional variations show how Santa was embraced globally, even in non-Christian societies, by blending him with his existing cultural motifs. Okay.
Okay.
Now, throughout all of this, someone is missing. Okay. Someone essential to the Santa folklore is missing. I mean, you got
Anything
Santa Claus.
else?
You got, I mean, yeah, but
Reindeers.
that's not who I'm getting at. You got
Saint
his 8
Nicholas.
reindeer already listed. No. Santa needs a wife.
Oh yeah, Mrs. Claus. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ho ho ho.
Yeah. As the Santa mythos expanded, storytellers gave Santa a family. The idea of Mrs. Claus, Santa's wife, first appeared in mid 19th century American writings and was popularized by 1889 by Catherine Lee Bates' poem Goody Santa Claus on a Sleigh Ride. Bates portrayed Mrs. Claus as a partner sharing Santa's Christmas Eve journey, nurturing the notion that Santa had a kindly wife at the North Pole. In addition, humanized Santa Claus further. He was not just a solitary elf, but a family man of sorts. By the late 1800s, Mrs. Claus began appearing in stories and illustrations, cementing her place in Christmas lore as the gentle woman behind the jolly man. The late 19th century saw Santa Claus become a more tangible presence in public life. In 1890, Massachusetts businessman James Edgar had the novel idea to dress up as Santa Claus in his department store so children could meet Santa in person. Kids traveled for miles around for the delight of chatting with Edgar's Santa. Edgar's popular store Santa, inspired by Thomas Nast's illustrations, earned him the title of the first department store Santa, kicking off a tradition of holiday Santa actors in shops. At the same time, the Salvation Army began deploying Santa-suited volunteers in city streets, starting in the early 1890s in New York, to solicit donations for the poor. These bell-ringing street Santas became a familiar Christmas time sight. By 1900, both the commercial sphere and charitable organizations had firmly adopted Santa's image, whether to boost sales or to inspire generosity, embedding Santa Claus in urban holiday culture. The popular belief in Santa received a famous affirmation in 1897 when New York newspaper The Sun replied to a letter from an 8-year-old girl, Virginia O'Hanlon, who had asked if Santa was real. Editor Francis P. Church's editorial titled, "Is There a Santa Claus?" responded, "Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus." arguing that Santa exists as the embodiment of love, generosity, and devotion. The editorial, printed September 21st, 1897, became one of the most reprinted newspaper editorials in history. Its enduring line, "Yes, Virginia," reassured generations that the spirit of Santa Claus, though not a physical person, is very real. This moment highlights how, by the end of the 19th century, Santa had transcended folklore to become a cherished symbol of childhood faith and Christmas magic in the public consciousness.
Nice. So, you think about it,
Little.
huh?
I
You
was
think
just going to
about it.
say that's a little uplifting story.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you because when me and you were kids, and even my daughter, um, when she was little, she would write letters to Santa. And you normally did it during school hours. And the teacher would put a little mailbox up on the desk right outside the door or whatever, and you'd stick your Santa Claus letters in that box and mail them
Yeah.
off to the North Pole every year. Now, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know how long they do that now, but I know she did hers in like
Well, I know
kindergarten.
there's businesses.
Good.
I know there's businesses nowadays where kids can write a letter to Santa, and these businesses will actually send a letter back.
Oh, okay.
And we used to do it with my son all the time, and we'd have him write a letter to Santa, and they would send it back with a little metal Christmas tree ornament
Oh, nice.
with his first name engraved on it. Hmm.
Okay.
And it was like $5-10 to
Oh,
do
that
it.
ain't bad at all. Well, you've also got another one
No.
where you can call the North Pole now too,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
talk to either Santa or the head elf or whatever. So that's also kind of neat.
Yeah.
Now, um, something that's always neat with Santa Claus, and they've done this since as long far back as I remember, since we've had TVs, or at least our generation. Where on Christmas Eve, the news would start tracking him and everything, and they'd stay on
Hmm.
throughout the
Yeah.
night. I'm like, okay, Santa's now in here, now he's over here, and so on and so forth. Something new that they wind up doing, and I'm pretty sure you can download it on your phone, is you have a Santa tracker and everything. So you can like, okay,
So I gotta find it, but it pops up every Christmas Eve on my Facebook. There's a Santa tracker, and for I gotta figure out where it's at. There's a Santa tracker, and you can actually watch it, and it's got like a little animated Santa Claus flying
mm-hmm.
across the sky
I think I know which one
and
you're talking
stuff.
about.
Hmm. I see it every year pop up on my Facebook.
So, um, I'm gonna hop back to Krampus real quick because I brought up the Krampus cards and they have poems on them. So
Hmm.
let's see, here's one that the first thing I tapped on. It says Krampus, Krampus to the tune of Baja, Baja, Black Sheep. Krampus, Krampus, have you any souls? Yes, sir, yes, sir. 3 bags full. Those who are cheaters and those who like flames. Those who are naughty boys who always pass the blame.
Hmm.
So, um, okay, here's one. Night of Krampus, a warning to parents. The feast of St. Nicholas is on the morrow, but the eves of one of dread and sorrow. 'Tis his Krampus, and he is coming, his feet stamping a dreadful drumming. With clanging chains and foul breath, with horny horns and the stench of death, with glowing eyes and many a bell that rings of things too dark to tell. So hold your sweet little wee ones dear, and pray they've been good this year. For if their behavior is deemed to lack, then Krampus shall put them in his sack. Now, imagine getting these cards and everything
Oh yeah.
this time of year. Now this is all fun and games. So, and I mean,
Yeah.
and you can look all these up on Google Images and stuff like that. But it's kind of neat. And I'll kind of, if it doesn't glitch out too bad. So, like, you see my tablet here, how it has Krampus down at the bottom,
Yeah.
just his face.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think the resurgence of him is kind of neat to go on with the holiday. I think it brings back a
Oh
depth
yeah.
that's been forgotten and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it brings kind of like the page I was reading. They're like, we've had so long of this bright joy during the Christmas months, and now we have some darkness brought back in. Like, hey, be good,
Well,
you
and
got
again,
little
it's
kids, huh?
yeah, it's two sides of the same coin. It's you can't have the light without the dark, and you can't have the dark without the light.
Right. So,
So
but
so carrying on, as Santa's legend grew, authors began expanding his backstory. In 1902, L. Frank Baum, famed author of The Wizard of Oz, published The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus, a whimsical book that reimagined Santa's origins in a mythical fairyland. Baum's tale gave Santa a childhood among wood nymphs and a mission to bring joy to children, adding layers of detail to Santa's biography. This book, with its creative twists and even an explanation for Santa's immortality, went a long way to popularizing the legend of Santa. In the early 20th century, by elaborating on his life story, while Santa's look was already established, Baum's work cemented his status as a full-fledged fictional character with his own mythology, a trend that would continue in countless books and films thereafter. By the 1910s, Santa Claus had spread far beyond his European and American roots. A Japanese illustration from 1914 shows Santa Claus delivering toys, reflecting how worldwide the Santa legend had become. In fact, this 1914 Japanese magazine image of Santa with a sack of gifts demonstrated that the Santa myth had reached across the world. Around the same time, Santa was appearing in images from Australia to South America, often in local art and advertising. He even featured in World War I era propaganda urging Allied home front efforts. This global proliferation meant that by the early 20th century, Santa Claus was a truly international icon, recognized by children in on multiple continents, even if called by different names. In the Soviet Union, Christmas figures took a unique path. The traditional Russian winter grandfather, Ded Moroz, which is Grandfather Frost,
mm-hmm.
had long been akin to Santa Father Christmas in Eastern Europe. But after the 1917 Russian Revolution, the fiercely atheist Soviet regime banned Christmas celebration and Ded Moroz as Burgoi, remnants of the old world. For several years, Christmas trees and gift giving were suppressed. By 1935, however, Stalin's government relented somewhat. Dead Moros was rehabilitated as a secular New Year's figure since New Year's was promoted over Christmas. Donning a blue or red fur coat and accompanied by his granddaughter, and again I'm going to try this, Snegurochka, Dead Moros resumed delivering gifts on New Year's Eve. This political twist meant that while Western Santa was booming in Coca-Cola ads, the USSR nurtured its own Santa-like tradition stripped of religious context. Dead Moros remains a fixture of New Year celebrations in Russia and other Slavic countries to this day, a parallel evolution to Santa Claus.
Now, you brought up Santa Claus and Coca-Cola ads. Now, you think about the old Coca-Cola ads, and even until we were kind of kids, you don't see it as much anymore. But
Well, we're about to get into the Coca-Cola ads too.
oh, are we? Okay, I'll just wait off till we get into that then.
That's the next section, 1931, Coca-Cola's iconic Santa.
Yeah, I'm already
Way to
touching
jump the
on it.
gun there, Dave.
Hey, I can't help it, man. You brought up Coca-Cola and Santa. It's like, okay, I'm just I'm sitting here just picturing all these ads and everything. I mean,
Uh-huh.
can you blame me of thinking about a polar bear holding a nice cold bottle of Coke and drinking it? Come on.
A glass bottle of Coke.
Well, a
Oh.
glass bottle, yes. A glass
Uh-huh.
bottle. Hopefully that we go back to.
The modern image the yeah. The modern image of Santa Claus received its most famous depiction in the 1930s thanks to a Coca-Cola advertising campaign. In 1931, illustrator Haddon Sandblom was hired by the Coca-Cola company to paint Santa for holiday ads. Sundblom's series of paintings in the 1930s and 40s showed Santa as a warm, plump, grandfatherly man in a bright red suit with a kindly expression and rosy cheeks, the quintessential jolly old Saint Nick. These hugely popular Coke ads ran in magazines and billboards worldwide. While Sundblom didn't invent Santa's red and white look, earlier images had it too. Coca-Cola's campaign massively popularized that image globally. From this point on, the Sundblom-style Santa, cheerful face, white beard, red coat with white fur trim, and black boots, became the near-universal depiction of Santa Claus in media and commerce. The Coca-Cola Santa firmly solidified the standard appearance of Santa that is still recognized everywhere today.
Yeah.
You didn't think I'd go through Santa Claus's history and not touch on Coca-Cola, did you?
Hey, man, I didn't know. Okay. I'm kind of feeling bad for this guy, though. Like, I was supposed to, like, have a good little skit for him, and, like, good old Saint Nick here is just, like, taking over and,
Yeah,
like,
it's just left hook after left hook after
yeah.
left hook.
Like, poor Santa's, he's got fucked over. I'm not Santa, but Krampus, I'm sorry. Santa is fucking Krampus
Well,
bad
and like I
today.
said, that stems from the fact that Santa Claus is more of a global figure, while Krampus is centralized to the Germanic region and Germanic peoples.
Yeah, and you've said that multiple times, and I agree with you on that. I mean, good old Saint Nick. I mean, he's made it so far around the world and just been embedded at this point that it's hard to bring in the anti character and everything. So, I mean, I do expect that he's gonna have more stories and
Oh
evolutions
yeah.
and everything. Where this guy right here is just kind of like, okay, I've kind of stayed the same. Kind of like goat horn demon figure now and everything. It's yeah. So
So, how many reindeer does Santa have?
Rudolph, Blitzen, Donner. And 7? Am I wrong?
How many are named in The Night Before Christmas? How many reindeer are named in The Night Before Christmas?
Eight. Dasher,
8.
Dancer, Prancer,
There's
Vixen,
one
Comet.
missing.
Yeah, Rudolph.
Mm-hmm. Santa's legend continued to grow with new characters. In 1939, Santa acquired a ninth reindeer, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, thanks to a promotional children's story written by Robert L. May. The Montgomery Ward department store published May's booklet, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, as a Christmas giveaway, printing 2.4 million copies that year. The story of the little reindeer whose glowing nose guides Santa's sleigh on a foggy Christmas Eve was an instant hit. A decade later, in 1949, songwriter Johnny Marks turned it into the now classic Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer song recorded by Gene Autry. Rudolph's popularity soared, and he became a permanent fixture in Santa's lore, the most famous reindeer of all. This mid-20th century's edition shows how new legends can integrate into Santa's canon, expanding the mythology that began with St. Nicholas. Now, while I was over at my sister's house and she was doing my tattoo, we were talking, and I forget how it got brought up, but the song Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer came up. And I jokingly asked her, did you hear the Creed version of that? Have you ever heard it?
No, I haven't.
Look it up. After we get off recording, look it up.
Oh no, I'm gonna do it
It's
now.
basically Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but it's basically Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but set to the like rhythm and everything of Higher.
Huh. If I could type. Apparently, I can't.
I might be able to do it. Hang on a
I
second.
got it. I love it. I'm not going to sit here and play the whole 2 minutes and 33 seconds of this, but that kind of gives everybody the gist of this. I like
Do
that.
what?
I didn't want to sit there and play 2 minutes and 33 seconds of the whole song, but playing enough of it.
You keep cutting out. What?
Can you not hear me?
If you've still got it playing or something, it might be the echo cancellation messing up.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. As I was saying, I didn't want to play the 2 minutes and
And you're
33
gone.
seconds of the song and everything, but I figured playing about 40 seconds of
I
it.
said, okay, can you hear? Or I heard, okay, can you hear me now? And then I heard song.
Oh, God. Good old Riverside strikes again.
You said good old river, and then it cut off again. It said, nope, you're not going to badmouth me. Let me try to turn off your echo cancellation. Hang on a second. Oh, nope, this can't be changed while recording. Darn.
I mean, I can back out and come back.
I see your lips moving.
Can you hear me now? Oh.
But no, so going back to that story, she played it and we were cracking up listening to it, okay? And then it went and played the next video, I guess, on her YouTube thing. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and mark this. Natalie, where this mark is, this needs to be edited out.
All right.
I hear you now.
My thing just completely just went.
I don't know. I hear you now, though. So, what were you saying?
So, as I was trying to say before you started trying to go back into your sister's stuff when she was doing your tattoo, enough of it so that they got a gist of.
Yeah, it's funny. But so the next thing that was in her YouTube thing, like she had autoplay turned on, so it plays the next video.
Uh,
Next video that came up, it's the melody for Hallelujah. Okay.
okay.
And it starts off, and the guy's like, I like big butts, I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny.
What kind of ghetto Christmas music is your sister listening to? I
I
like
think it's
big
because she looked
butts and
up
I
that Creed
cannot lie.
Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Damn.
But just the laughter as soon as that first line hit. I like big butts, I cannot lie.
Their mother brothers can't
Can't deny.
deny.
But I'm going to have to find that one and send it to you. That one was funny.
Right.
So post World War II, Santa Claus took center stage in Hollywood. The beloved film Miracle on 34th Street was released in 1947, telling the story of a department store Santa played by Edmund Gwynn, who claims to be the real Kris Kringle. Set in New York City, the film captured the public's imagination by putting Santa on trial in a court of law and vindicating him as a real embodiment of the Christmas spirit. Miracle on 34th Street became a perennial Christmas favorite and won multiple Academy Awards. Its endearing popularity further cemented Santa's image as not just a cartoonish character for kids, but a cultural icon representing faith, generosity, and the magic of Christmas in modern life. The film's success heralded countless other Santa-themed movies in decades to come, from comedies to heartfelt dramas, entrenching Santa Claus in popular culture. Now, this next section you brought up earlier, okay? It's titled 1955 NORAD Track Santa.
Ah,
All right.
here I come bringing up stuff way before it should have been, right?
Yep. A whimsical Cold War era accident led to a new Christmas tradition.
Okay.
Okay. In December 1955, a misprinted phone number in a Sears department store ad caused a child trying to call Santa to reach the Conad Air Defense Command Center in Colorado, which was the predecessor to NORAD.
Oh, shit.
Colonel Henry Shoup, receiving the call on a top secret line, cheerfully played along as Santa. Rather than dismiss the incident, Conad saw a PR opportunity. They issued a press release on Christmas Eve 1955, playfully reporting that air defense radar was tracking Santa's sleigh from the North Pole. Thus was born the NORAD Track Santa program, in which the U.S. Canadian Military Command annually gives children updates on Santa's flight path. This tradition, carried on by NORAD to this day, has only grown, moving from newspaper reports to a hotline, then to televised updates, and now an extensive online Santa tracking experience each Christmas Eve. It illustrates how Santa folklore continues to adapt to new technology, keeping the sense of wonder alive in the space age and beyond. This is the last little section I've got, all right?
Okay.
In the 21st century, Santa Claus is a truly global and multimedia phenomenon. He's known by many names around the world. Père Noël in France, Babbo Natale in Italy, Santa San in Japan, Dead Moros in Russia, Xingden Lauren in China, and more, yet everywhere he embodies the same idea of a benevolent gift-giving figure. Each year, Santa is celebrated in countless films, TV specials, songs, and advertisements, from classic remakes to new stories imagining his adventures. Children write emails as often as letters to Santa now, and can watch him deliver presents via satellite tracking and smartphone apps, showing how even a centuries-old legend moves with the times. What remains unchanged is the core of Santa's myth, the generous, jolly spirit of Christmas who rewards good children and spreads joy. As one modern writer observed, regardless of the cultural variations, the tradition of rewarding the good has been part of Christmas folklore for thousands of years, and Santa Claus, in all his forms, continues to carry that torch around the world.
That he does. Every year. So, I think Santa Claus won this round.
I think it was a first round knockout.
I believe it was. Probably in the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a shame we couldn't get. So a little inside baseball for everybody that stuck around for this. We're now at an hour 15 recording.
Yeah.
The idea going into this was we were going to create an AI video of the ring walks and introductions for a boxing match between these two,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of build it up to be that. Would have been really cool, but you got me and Dave and Natalie, so 3 retards trying to figure out how to work AI, and it don't really work out that well.
Dude, I've so this Perplexia thing, that I've got, like it gave me a whole script. Okay, like I mean a script, like scene by scene, like 0 to 10, 10 to 15, like second clips. But it's like, oh, go over here and go over here and go over here. And then you try to go here, and it's like, okay, what's $60 a year for this subscription? I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not paying
Yeah,
60
that
bucks
that was
right
kind of
now.
my thing.
Yeah.
Now, now Natalie had created one. The video was amazing. The script was amazing. Okay. The script started out, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, yada, yada. And Natalie read the script off to me over the phone, and I was like, fuck yes, let's do it. That's perfect. And she's like, yeah, and the video looks pretty cool. Let me put a voice over it reading it. I heard it playing over the phone, and as soon as I heard the voice, I told her no.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
Well,
She hits play,
good.
and it's just, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. What? No. No.
But hang on. Here's the thing. That could still actually work because it sounds kind of like an elf. Think about it. You got a Christmas showdown boxing match between Santa Claus and Krampus. Who's going to be announcing this?
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I'll see if Natalie still has it.
So, I mean, I sent you the script that I got.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't say anything back about it, so it probably sucked.
Oh, I liked it. I liked it. I'll put it to you this way. You and Natalie both succeeded more than I did.
Dude, I sat down for probably an hour last night trying to, like,
I've spent pretty much the last 48 hours straight doing that, trying to figure it out.
yeah, I've tried.
It would have been cool.
Yeah.
So, but I think that wraps up another wonderful episode of Lots Full. Y'all don't forget to subscribe, like the video, go to YouTube or go to Apple Podcasts and Spotify, leave us 5-star rating and review. Go show Dave some love over on the TikTok.
Hey, I'm trying over there, okay? I mean,
I know.
y'all look for this, okay? This right here, share this whole background. This is our thumbnail for the week.
I like how you're saying share this and you're doing a circle around your face. Share this. Share this.
Hey, we might get famous. I'm a little
Might.
better looking. I'm still bald.
But I appreciate y'all joining. Dave, I appreciate you joining as usual. It was fun. This was a good episode, I think. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree with you. And like usual, I mean, we'll be back next week best we can and do another episode. We might get
We're going to
into
take the weekend off to enjoy Christmas with our families and stuff like that.
yeah.
But we're recording this on Christmas Eve. And I just looked down at my clock on the computer. It is officially midnight. It is now Christmas.
Oh,
So
I better go hop in bed before Santa shows up.
yep. So Merry Christmas, brother.
Merry Christmas to you, bud.
And Merry Christmas to all y'all watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.
Yep.